What's going on, guys? Noah Brewer here. This is going to be one of the most valuable series that I put out there. 0 to 6 figures. I'm going to be laying my whole strategy out, everything that I do. As I'm making these videos, I'm going to be following a notebook, essentially, like a guidebook. And make sure that you check the link in the description. Make sure that you download that so that you can follow along, and also you have the notes. I'm going to be dropping these videos, one today, one tomorrow, and one the next day. So let's get into this. All right, guys, let's just dive right into this. So this is going to be going from 0 to 6 figures, step number 1, which is just product testing. Now, I'm not going to be in depth about my specific strategy of what I follow because I already have another video where I do that. But this one, I'm more going to be talking about the strategy from a macro level and different things that you need to keep in mind when you're in this phase of growing your store. So basically, the first thing that you want to do is you want to build a list of 10 to 15 winning products just so that they're ready for testing. And you want to add descriptions, set up the pricing, do all that stuff on your website, and then also create the page posts so that they're ready, so that when you're ready to run ads, you're not like running around trying to put everything together last minute. You already have it all ready. So that's really important, just so that you can test really quickly. You could just move from one product to another. There's not like a big wait time in between. So one thing to keep in note, I usually only test like 1 or 2 products at a time, usually just one at a time. Different things that you should know is you should be following my strategy, especially if you're going to be taking advice from somebody in this field. You really want to make sure that you're following a single strategy. I don't care if it's mine. I don't care if it's somebody else's. Just don't be mixing strategies. Like, if you're going to commit to something, commit to it. Because what I built, this sheet that I'm showing you, this process, my strategy, it took me a long time to build this, and it doesn't work if you just mix and match it with other things. So that's why I'm saying follow my strategy. Know what to do. Pay attention to detail. Don't mess up the strategy. Make sure that you're doing everything good, like I say, and stay consistent with it until you find a winner. Just keep in mind, guys, the expectations of this is not you're going to test like 3 or 4 products and then find a winner. The expectation should be I'm going to keep on testing until I find a winner. It doesn't matter how long it takes, okay, how many products you need to test. I've seen products do $10,000, $3,000, $4,000 profit on their first month being open, and I've seen stores take months to find their first winning product. There is no factor to take away from the fact that it's a numbers game. You got to find a bunch of products and then just put them out there and stick with the best one that you find. Success rate is usually 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10. 1 out of 5 would be ideal. Like, that's, it's not too common, but it's also not too rare either. And then 1 out of 10 is like average. Like, I don't think in the past like 3 or 4 months I've tested more than 10 products without finding a winner. But always prepare for the worst. Like, don't just expect that if you just test 10 products you're going to be a millionaire by then. Expect, like I said, go in it with the mindset that you're going to be going for, a month, 2 months. So you have your budget ready, your mindset is ready. Like, you don't set the wrong expectations, so you're disappointed down the line. Which brings me to the next point is, like, don't get disappointed. Don't get discouraged. Always check that you're doing it right and following the steps. Don't think that the strategy doesn't work. Guys, I know that the strategy works. I can understand why it's hard to believe that, because you're not me. Like, you don't actually see it working. But if you trust me enough to be watching this video, I would assume that you trust me enough to trust my results. You guys know that I'm very transparent about that stuff. So it's not the strategy, man. Like, if you're doing exactly what I say and it's not working, you literally just haven't been doing it enough. So just make sure that you double check everything, make sure that you're doing it right. And if you're doing it right, just keep doing it until it works. Okay, so committing yourself to success is vital. Like, I'm repeating this, but I see too many people, they just test like 3 or 4 products and they make no sales, and they get really discouraged, and it's kind of like, oh, this doesn't work, whatever. It shouldn't even be like that. Like, when I wake up in the morning, when I start a new business, when I start a new venture, it's never a question of whether it's going to work or not. It's a question of like, am I going to commit myself to make it work or not? Because I've been through enough success to know that it always works out in the end. Like if you just stick with it and you do the right things, it'll always work out. So just be ready for a full commitment, especially in a business that's, I don't want to say easy, but like as laid out as it is for you. It should be a full commitment. You shouldn't have any questions, questions or doubts or anything. Just make it happen no matter what. Some special tips that I put in here for when you're actually in this stage. This really should only take an hour a day. If you're testing a ton of products at a time, it'll take a little bit longer. But like I said, I usually just do 1 or 2 at a time. So it should only take you an hour a day, and you should only be checking them once a day at the same time. Just because if you just look at your ads all day and you're just you're very uptight about them, like you're just going to be very paranoid. You know what I mean? So I think that's one good side of owning an agency, to where I don't really have an emotional connection to the money that's being spent, to the stores that are being grown. It's more of a numbers game for me. So it's very easy for me to say like, oh yeah, just look at it once a day. But I understand that when it's your own store, it's a little bit different. It's your money, it's a store that you built. Maybe you spent some time building it, whatever it is. I'm just telling you that don't be paranoid about it. Try to remove yourself emotionally and think number wise, because this really is a numbers game. You need to be able to look at data and understand where money's coming from, where you're losing money. And if you're all emotional, it's difficult to do that and keep like a non-biased opinion about it. And the last time, just to set the right expectations, don't think that this is an easy game, and it's easier than any other business model just because you see people so young doing so well. Whatever it is, there's young people doing well in any business. There's people who see success really, really quickly in any business. It doesn't mean that every single business is very easy to do. Just understand that this is a business. There's nobody that's going to come in and just hand it to you. It's going to take a good amount of work, patience. You're going to have a strategy. You're going to have to know what you're doing. It's not just going to be handed to you. So yeah, just to recap, build a list of 10 to 5 winning products, get them ready, add descriptions, create page posts, test 1 or 2 products at a time, very simple. Follow the strategy, pay attention to detail, stay consistent until you find a winner. Expect to test 10 to 15 products before finding a winner. But of course, remember, prepare for the worst, have your budget ready, all that stuff. And another thing is, don't get discouraged and commit yourself. Like, you need to be committed to this, because if you're not, you're going to get discouraged. You're going to doubt yourself and all that sort of thing. So just commit yourself to success, because I'm telling you, I have seen people literally going from having, $1,000 to their name to having, 6 figures to their name, profit. So it's not a question of whether it's possible. It's a question of whether it's possible for you to commit yourself to make it happen that way for you. Okay. Special tips, don't spend too much time worrying about it. Remove yourself emotionally from your ad spend and your products in your store. And don't expect this to just be like an easy business model just because you see people winning. All right, guys, that was part 1 of the series. I hope you guys enjoyed it and you're able to get a better understanding of like product testing and getting to that point where you can, have 2 to 3 sales so that you can move on to the next stage, which is also going to be exciting. If you haven't yet, make sure you check the link in the description and download your guidebook so that you can follow along. Notes, as important as you make them. If you use them as you're doing your ads, good. If you want to follow along to the video, whatever the reason is, I just want that to be a resource available to you. So make sure you go get that. But as for this video, this is Noah Brewer, and I'm out. Peace.